Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Grama Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. We welcome all of our Facebook Live listeners, our listeners over YouTube Live, and our listeners over Zoom. Welcome to all of you to this day 13 of Shri Vraja Parikrama. We would like to congratulate all the devotees who participated in yesterday's quiz session. Mother Flavia, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Sarojamukhi Indulekha Mataji, Lakshmi Priya Mataji, Satyarani Mataji, Lalita Mataji, Rajeshwari, Hari Prasad Prabhu, and Nutan Purohit Mataji. Congratulations to all of you, and we encourage all of our dear listeners to please participate in the quiz session so that we may get an opportunity to congratulate you and announce your names as the participants.
All right, can we have the slideshow, please? Yesterday, we walked from Dig to Shri Adi Badri Dham, which is Shri Badrinath Dham. And today, we'll walk from Shri Adi Badri Dham to Shri Vraja Kedarnath Dham, and from there to finally Shri Kamyavan, the sixth one that we will be encountering on the way while following Lord Chaitanya's footsteps during the Vraja Mandal Parikrama. So again, we'll go to Adi Kedarnath Dham from Adi Badri Dham, then to Charan Pahadi, where there is the lotus footprint of Krishna, Luki Kunda, very, very mysterious Kunda, Gaya Kunda, which comes from both Gaya. Then to Kamyavan, we'll go there. In Kamyavan, we will perform the internal parikrama of Kamyavan, and tomorrow we'll perform the external parikrama of Kamyavan. So in the internal Kamyavan parikrama, there is Radha MadanMohan temple, Radha Govinda ji temple. All these temples are there in Vrindavan Panchakrosh parikrama as well, but mysteriously, and we'll find out how and why they manifested here in Kamyavan as well. Radha MadanMohan ji, Radha Govinda ji, Shri Radha Gopinath ji, Vrinda Devi is here as well. There is a Vrinda Kund, but here in Kamyavan, on the edge of the border of UP and Rajasthan, this is the place. Chorasi Kamba, 84 pillars. That's what Chorasi Kamba is. Yashoda Kund, Kameshwar Mahadev Darshan, and then finally Vimala Kunda. And then we'll stay in Kamyavan for the next 2 nights, tonight, and then tomorrow we'll do the external parikrama and then stay again in Kamyavan before we go to Shri Barshana Dham. Next slide, please. So this is the summary of day 13 that we'll be doing today. And as you see here, we are on the extreme right from, our extreme left, which is from Badrinath to Kedarnath Dham, Vraja Kedarnath Dham, and we'll end at Kamyavan, today's parikrama, and then we'll do an internal parikrama of Kamyavan. Next slide, please. This is the route from Adi Badri to Adi Kedarnath, and in between all these different places and holy villages, then to Charan Pahadi and to Kamyavan. Kamyavan is actually nowadays called Kama Sheher or Kama town. It's the town of Kama, but actually it's Kamyavan. Today is a very, very long walk and lots of climb. 28 kilometers. This is probably one of the longest walks that we'll be having around the entire Vrajamandal Parikrama. Next slide, please. So on our way to Adi Kedarnath Dham of Vraja Vrindavan, here Lord Krishna made Kedarnath Dham appear. This is such a cute photo of Lord Krishna dressed as Lord Shiva. And he is laughing like a little baby, manifesting Adi Kedarnath Dham, inviting Lord Shiva to reside in Vraja Vrindavan in Kedarnath. Next slide, please. We'll be actually crossing through fields after fields. It's a 12-kilometer walk. Out of the 28, 12-kilometer walk is just from Sri Adi Badrinath to Adi Kedarnath. And then just like Krishna manifested Rishikesh that we saw yesterday, the Lakshman Jhula, Sri Adi Badri was manifested, Gangotri, Yamunotri was manifested simply for his devotees, simply for the Brajbasis. Krishna also manifested Sri Kedarnath Dham here in Sri Vraja Mandala. And then as you can see, we are at the foothills of Sri Vraja Adi Kadrinath, Vraja Adi Kedarnath. Kadrinath is a combination of Badrinath and Kedarnath, but this is Kedarnath Dham. And this, you see the hill on top? This is what we actually have to climb today. There's a stone stairway. Next slide.
Actually, if you pinch out in this picture, you will see some devotees have already started the climb. If you zoom in, you can see
on the hill.
Then you can see devotees are already climbing the hill. It's a fantastic view.
Next slide, please. So we are on the foothills, and now we start climbing the Vraja Kedarnath hill. There's a stone stairway that leads us to 270 steps up to the top of the hill. And on the top, we will take darshan of the self-manifested Shivalinga deity, which is inside a very natural cave.
So we have a video. So till the time, if you can please get the video ready, that one video that I shared with you, Prem Vikas Prabhu, if you can please have that video ready. Whenever you're ready, please let us know. We would like to show that video right now, if it's possible, because that video we have just received a little while ago. When the devotees, the 4-5 devotees, along with Srila Radharaman Maharaj, His Grace Ishtadev Prabhu, is very kind, and he has shared with us on the way when they were climbing the Kedarnath hill, and it's a live view of Kedarnath Dham, and we can see the Shivalinga as live on video. So please, if we can have that video ready, whenever you're ready, please let us know.
Now, we cannot walk into the cave when we reach on the top. We actually have to crawl into the cave to take darshan of Lord Shiva, of the Shivalinga self-manifested. So let us offer our respectful obeisances to Lord Shiva, who is Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, the greatest among all the Vaishnavas. This is the same, next slide please. This is the same Kedarnath Dham which is there in the Himalayas. This is where the people are standing, devotees are standing in line to take darshan of Lord Shiva for crawling inside the cave. Next slide, please. And we can see the final steps leading to the natural cave of Sri Kedarnath, which Krishna arranged to manifest and Lord Shiva manifested on the desire of Lord Krishna, self-manifested, natural cave. Next slide, please. Then we crawl into this cave. As you can see, the gate is also very small, just enough for us to crawl in.
We cannot stand up.
We cannot actually stand up. Everyone has to bend down in front of Lord Shiva. And there we can have the darshan of the Shivalinga, which we'll see in a little bit close view. Next slide, please. And here, Sri
Shiva
Shivalinga ki jai. This
Jai.
is the darshan of the Shivalinga of Vraja, Kedarnath, self-manifested Shivalinga. And we pray here to please remove all of our material desires and our material attachments so we can automatically be spontaneously attracted to Lord Krishna's devotional service and his love. And this is our only desire. We don't use anything for our sense gratification or for exploitation of for our sense gratification, but simply see every living being as the servant of Srimati Radharan and respect them in that way. In this way, please save us from the hook of Maya. This Maya is having, just like when a fish is caught in a hook, a fish is caught in a hook, and on the hook there is a worm. That worm is just twirling in different ways, and fish, the fishes, they start fighting amongst each other. Who will go and eat that worm? Who will go and eat that worm, which is actually it's a bait. But these fishes fight, and whichever unfortunate fish wins, unfortunately goes towards the worm. And then as soon as it bites its teeth into the worm, it tries to swallow it, it the hook gets stuck. This is how Maya is trapping us. Please allow us, please save us from these trappings of Maya, these distractions, so we can be single-mindedly focused on Lord Krishna's devotional service. Okay, we can see the video of the
Haribo.
steps.
We can have the volume. That's fine. Let's have the volume. No problem.
ये विशाल पत्थर है व्हाइट रंग का है और पत्थर के अंदर
This is the natural cave.
और गुफा में भगवान शिव जी केदारनाथ वास करते हैं
Shri Vraja Kedarnath ki jai.
Jai. See how
Now
we have to
devotees are
crawl in.
crawling inside the cave.
मैं आवाज करता हूँ
Jai
Jai,
Shri
Shri
Vraja
Kedarnath.
Kedarnath.
Jai.
This is live just
कि यहाँ से निकलना पड़ता है
today.
ठीक है
Today the devotees took darshan, and we are also having the live darshan.
Haribo.
Not live, it's recorded, but today itself it was recorded in
Shri
India,
Vrindavan.
Shri Vrindavan
Jai.
Dham. Today as per US time, yesterday as per India time.
Jai, Jai. All right, we can come back to this slide, please. Jai, Shri Kedarnath Shiva Shambhu ki Jai.
Next slide, please.
So then we come down the same stairs. This is Lord Shiva again. What a beautiful prayer Prabhu has made to Lord Shiva. So let us continue in that mood so that we can get pure Krishna Bhakti. That Lord Shiva bless us with pure Krishna Bhakti here in Shri Vrajadham. Jai Shri Param Vaishnav Mahadev Shiva Shambhu ki Jai. Next slide, please. Right in front of Kedarnath, when we come down the stairs and when we start walking towards our next destination, we come across Gauri Kunda. Remember when we go to Kedarnath, Gauri Kund is the Tapta Kunda that we had taken bath, but this is not Tapta Kunda, it's not hot water, it is very nice cold water, but this is called as Gauri Kunda that Krishna manifested here along with Sri Kedarnath Dham. Gauri Kunda was also manifested. So please let us enter the waters, sprinkle some water. In fact, there are very wonderful Brajbasis here who actually stand with pots of water in their hand, and we can just go touch their lotus feet and they bless us with Gauri Kund's water, and they really shower a lot of blessings upon us. So we feel very, very blessed to receive the blessings from the Brajbasis here at Shri Gauri Kunda ki Jai.
Next slide, please.
Next, this is around 11:30 that we walked. We kept walking. Last year, actually, the breakfast prasad, there was some problem. And after Kedarnath, generally near Kedarnath, because by the time we reach Kedarnath, it's almost 9:30 in the morning. So right after Kedarnath darshan, we generally around 10 o'clock we get breakfast. But this time we had to walk till 11:30, means at least another 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers. We had to walk till we got breakfast prasad. And after breakfast prasad, you can see we are just sitting under the tree, and Prabhu is taking some rest, relaxing before starting our walk towards Charan Pahadi. We were just sitting under the shade of this huge banyan tree. You can see it's actually right on the road. You can see those two devotees in the center picture. That is the road that we are walking, and we are just lying down. Prabhu is lying down. We are sitting just on the side of the road under the shade of a tree. This is how it is in Vraja Mandala, that wherever we feel tired, you can just sit, and Krishna just gives beautiful trees that we can sit under the shade of and feel very relaxed, very energetic, then to carry on with the journey of walking towards Charan Pahadi. When we walk towards Charan Pahadi, it is coming from the hill. Is Charan Pahadi is a hill that it comes when we take a left towards the Bilond village. It's a Bilond village, it is called. Next slide, please. So from Bilond village, when we make a left, we walk through what is called as a Neher Karasta. Neher means like a canal. A canal is passing by on the left hand side, and we are walking. Trust me, there is no sitting place here, because on the left is the canal, Neher, and on the right are thorny bushes. And there's just this pathway that is going in the center, and it is scorching heat, very, very hot, extremely hot. And we walk and we come towards this Charan Pahadi of Shri Krishna. It's on a huge hill, and we can see this from a distance.
Next slide, please. These are the steps going up to the little temple in Charan Pahadi where we see the lotus footprints of Krishna. In fact, the left and right footprints can be seen atop the hill on a large stone here. Actually, before we have darshan of the footprints, one time when Krishna and the cowherd boys, they were grazing the cows, the calves, they were indiscriminately scattered in all different directions. And as evening grew near, Krishna and his friends, they were concerned. Where are the cows? Where are the calves? They've not yet come back. Everyone is here and there, helter skelter. Where are they grazing? So Krishna, he closed his eyes and he smilingly, with a smita, played his flute in sweet melody. And hearing that call of the flute of Krishna, the cows and calves, wherever they were, immediately ran to him. And this sheer ecstasy of the flute music melted the stones here as well. And thus the impressions of Krishna's lotus feet were casted on the rocks, which got melted by the sweet tune, melodious tune of Krishna's flute. Generally, it is said that the flute actually is capable of making several sounds at the same time. And it has a melody of sounds, so many different at the same time, which can come almost simultaneously. But when Krishna is generally calling anyone, he plays the flute so that there are several sounds at once, and it's a wonderful melody of tunes. But when Krishna is deep in meditation, he plays the flute in such a way that all these different melodies and simultaneous tunes that are going on, they merge into one tune. That is the fifth note of Krishna's flute, which comes as Gayatri Mantra and which initiated Lord Brahma. So one time one devotee had asked, what is the significance of the fifth note? The fifth note is that when Krishna's all of his melodies, instead of coming out of all the seven notes, it just merges into the fifth note and comes out of it. when Krishna is in a deep meditative state. And that melts the hearts of all the devotees. So because Krishna was so concerned about the cows and the calves, he called them in deep meditation. And that meditation expressed itself in the form of this melody, which melted the hearts, melted the stone-like hearts. If it can melt the stones, we pray here to Charan Pahadi, please melt our stone-like hearts, which are so become so hard-hearted due to the desire for sense gratification. Due to sense gratification, allow us to give the spiritual strength to relieve us from sense gratification and engage in the blissful devotional service of the Lord. Take shelter of the Lord. Next slide, please. So at the here, when we go to Charan Pahari, these are the next level of steps. There are two levels of steps actually. In between, one can actually rest. So when I had gone up there, I think some of the devotees, they said, can you take darshan on our behalf?
We
up
said that.
and take pictures and some charanamrita and come down. So I actually had blisters, some blisters in my foot, especially because of this long walks and especially the long walk of towards Kama. And so if I had to uh, walk up the staircase or the steps, I had to actually run so that I reduced the impact on my foot. So I ran up the steps, then stopped at this point actually, because after this point it becomes steeper, and just stayed took rest for some time, then again ran up the stairs all the way up to that little temple. These are the second level of steps going to the temple. Next slide, please. At the height of Charan Pahadi for the darshan of the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. Here you can see someone has performed milk abhishek to the lotus feet. We see some remnants of the milk there. This is the lotus feet of Krishna. We pray to the lotus feet of Krishna to please melt our stone-like hearts with your devotional service.
And if you can notice that this is the complete foot is the left imprint of Krishna's feet, and the right one, which is on the side, the corner, top corner, that is, how Krishna stands in Tribhanga form, his right feet, but just half of it. It is just half of, because Krishna stands in a threefold bending form. So this is the complete foot and one half of the feet on the other side. So this is how Krishna was standing while he was playing his flute and calling on the cows.
Next slide, please. So from here, we go to a mysterious kunda called Luki Kunda. Luki means hide and seek. Here, Krishna used to hide from the gopis and then surprise them in a very unique way. Next slide, please. Let's go to the previous slide and let's take first 3 drops from this Luki Kunda and purify ourselves by taking shelter of Krishna's pastimes. One time, Krishna was playing here with his cowherd friends. Next slide, please. And Srimati Radharani, she came to the other side of the kunda, of this Luki Kunda, to get water. Krishna saw her on the other bank of this Luki Kunda. He dived under the water and swam towards the other end. And then from within the water, he got hold of her lotus feet. And Srimati Radharani got really surprised. Who is this? Who grabbed my feet? But this is Krishna wanting the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Here, the water used to be so clear that Krishna was able to differentiate Srimati Radharani's lotus feet from the lotus feet of all the other gopis. He went straight to Srimati Radharani's lotus feet, but it was all in good fun. And if Srimati Radhika's lotus feet were not in water, he would have given her a good scare to Srimati Radharani, Lalita, or Vishakha, or the other gopis whenever the opportunity presented. This was one pastime in the Luki Kunda. Next slide, please.
Krishna would do all kinds of pastimes here. When the gopis would fill their waters from this Luki Kunda, and Krishna would, throw a little bit of stone and he would break the pot of the gopis. And, while hiding, he
They
would
would say,
do it.
what happened? What happened to my pot? Then Krishna would come. I don't know.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Your pot is damaged on your own. Like this, Krishna would have a lot of pastimes here with the gopis.
The gopis would say, Krishna, what did you do? Look, you broke it. What? I didn't break it. I just came here.
Like this, Krishna would play with the gopis here in Luki Kunda. Next slide, please. We also see that Srimati Radharani, she would love to play hide and seek with Krishna. She would be actually holding Krishna's eyes and she would tell all the gopis to hide. And then the gopis, some of them would go inside the water, some of them would hide behind the trees. And then Krishna would be released by Srimati Radharani, and then Krishna would go looking for each gopi. So like this, Srimati Radharani, Krishna, and the gopis, they would play hide and seek. So Luki means looking, not looking. It has got an English meaning too, but it is also mostly in Hindi or in Braj Bhasha. It is called hide and seek, the game of hide and seek.
Look means lukachupi. Look means to hide.
Look jana, matlab you just hide somewhere. Lukachupi khel. So Luki Kunda, that's why it's called as Luki Kunda, where Srimati Radharani, Krishna, and the gopis would play a lot of hide and seek with Krishna. Next slide, please.
So from here, from Luki Kunda, on our way to Kamyavan, we actually come to Gaya Kunda. Gaya Kunda is on the western outskirts of this town of Kama. Right after Gaya Kunda, we'll enter the Kama town or the Kamyavan. Nanda Maharaj, he offered oblations to his forefathers here. Actually, he wanted to go to Bodh Gaya in Bihar, which is very famous for offering Shraddha to the ancestors. And Krishna said, Pitaji, why do you want to go there? I can bring Gaya here. And then he said, yeah, but there is the lotus footprint of Vishnu in Gaya. And he said, well, I have my lotus footprint here, and I also can manifest Vishnu's lotus footprint. So here in Gaya Dham, Krishna manifested the Gaya Dham from Bodh Gaya right near Kamyavan. And this is where the Nanda Maharaj offered oblations to his forefathers. So here even today, many of the Brajvasis come to perform Shraddha ceremony of their ancestors. So let us pay obeisances to this Kunda very respectfully, take 3 drops of water, sprinkle it on our heads, asking for glorifying Krishna for bringing all the tirthas in Vrajadham and begging for his shelter that we do not deserve. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, our spiritual masters, we are daring to approach him and praying to relieve us from sense gratification and engage us in his devotional service. Next slide, please.
So now right after this is Gaya Kunda. So we walk across the Gaya Kunda and then we come into the town of Kama, which is Kamyavan. Next slide, please. So this is the beautiful town of Shri Kamyavan ki Jai. So Kamyavan is actually Kamyavan is actually the it is said that it is the 6th forest of Shri Vrindavan Dham. And when we are here, the word Kamya actually means extremely beautiful. Well, it means that it is well adorned or very, 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 very attractive. This forest within the Vraja Mandala is a very, very charming pastime place of Shri Radha and Krishna. Next slide, please. There are many, many beautiful kundas here, many trees, creepers, flowers, fruits, and special species of birds that contribute to the extraordinary beauty of this particular place. And that's why because it is the, fulfillment. It is the place where all of our spiritual desires can be fulfilled. That is why this place is called as Kamyavan. Shri Kamyavan ki jai. So this is the place, next slide please, that where Krishna performed many of his childhood pastimes. He used to come here to graze the cows. Very, very often he would come here. And according to Sri Vishnu Purana, there are 84 sacred kundas in Kamyavan, 84 temples, and also there is the 84 pillar palace of Krishna. So which was also, hope to the Pandavas when they came to Kamyavan. So we'll discuss that tomorrow. So the name Kamyavan is deriving from the word kama, which means desire. So one can have all of one's spiritual desires fulfilled in this particular place. And according to Sri Varaha Purana, it is said that one becomes worthy of being glorified and being transported directly to the Lord's abode if we are able to actually seek shelter of Sri Kamyavan. This is the glory of this beautiful, beautiful. It's actually one of the most important of all the 12 forests of Vrindavan. This is Kamyavan. And we will understand why Kamyavan is so important. In the Puranas, it is also stated that the forest of Kamyavan, it fulfills the innermost desires of the soul. And at this place, it is very much recommended that we must pray to fulfill the desire for pure devotional service and for selfless desire to please the Lord and satisfy his devotees. Because the fulfillment of any other desire will eventually only bring about frustration in our life and nothing else. So in Kamyavan, Krishna, who has performed enchanting pastimes, here we will be able to take darshan of the most beautiful temples, beautiful kundas, and many other lila sthalis. So here, when we take every step at Sri Kamyavan, let us try to, understand what is the core purpose of our life. What is the objective of our life? And let's try to move forward towards that objective. That objective is pure, loving, devotional service to Krishna, which is unmotivated, which is uninterrupted. Devotional service to Krishna. And in which is going to be pleasing to Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters. That should be our only desire when we take every step at Kamyavan. So please let us remember this beautiful prayer while we are in Kamyavan, especially. Why is Kamyavan so special? Let us understand that. So it is said that when the three original deities of Shri Vraja Dham, who are Shri MadanMohan, Shri Govinda Devji, and Shri Gopinathji, along with Vrinda Devi, were taken from Vrindavan, and they were wanting to be moved to Jaipur because of the atrocities of the Mughal Empire. At that time, the Mughal Muslim rulers, because in fear of that, they actually, first from Vrindavan, it is said that these four deities first came to Radha Kund. They stayed for 5 nights at Sri Radha Kund, all 4 of these deities. Govindaji, MadanMohan, Gopinath, and Vrinda Devi. Original deity.
Along with Radharani's.
Yeah, of course, along with Srimati Radharani's. But Vrinda Devi is the original deity of Vrinda Devi, who was carved by Maharaj Vajranabh himself 5,000 years ago. And this Vrinda Devi deity was found by Srila Rupa Goswami when he found Govindaji. At that time, he found Vrinda Devi also. And in the temple of Govindaji, Rupa Goswami himself used to worship this deity of Vrinda Devi. So all these 4 deities were being moved. The first time they stayed in Radha Kund for 5 days. Then from Radha Kund, they came to this village of Kama, to Kamyavan. And in Kamyavan, they stayed for 3 nights. On the 4th day morning, it is said, next slide, please. On the 4th day morning, this is the internal map of the Parikrama of Kamyavan. We will be visiting these temples which we are seeing here on this map. So MadanMohan, Govinda, Gopinath, Vrinda Devi is in Govindaji temple, and we will also be going to Chorasi Kamba, and then finally to our camping site, which is near Vimala Kunda. Next slide, please. So we see that Madan Mohan, Shri Radha Govinda Devji, and Shri Radha Gopinathji, all three of them, along with Vrinda Devi, on the fourth morning when they were supposed to leave from Kamyavan to go towards Jaipur, at that time, Vrinda Devi did not want to go. She refused to go. So we'll find out what happened to Vrinda Devi later. But because these four personalities stayed here at Sri Kamyavan for 3 nights, 3 days, 3 nights. That's why replica deities and temples were manifested here in Kamyavan also in honor of these personalities who resided here for 3 days and 3 nights. So let us now visit and take darshan of all these deities. Next slide, please. So we come to Sri MadanMohan temple.
There are some rock paved streets that lead to this Vrajbasi house where Sri Radha Madan Mohan lived. Actually, Sri Radha Madan Mohan lived here for temporarily before being transferred to Jaipur. This was the second resting place for them. But because they rested here, there is eternal residence as well. Because Krishna, Sri Radha Madan Mohan are in this particular Vrajbasi house. They are the Pratibhu or replica deities of Srila Sanatana Goswami. Next slide, please. Jai Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ji ki Jai. When Sri Madan Mohan was here, a motherly gopi had caught him stealing butter. and as punishment, she said, "You will stay in my house. I will not allow you to go anywhere." So then that's why this is the second resting place that they stayed in. But they left, and their replica deities are here of Srila Sanatana Goswami. And the other set of replica deities are in Vrindavan in the Radha Madan Mohan temple. So we pray here to Sri Radha Madan Mohan to provide us shelter from Madan, where you completely attract even Cupid. So please attract our hearts, and to Srimati Radharani, please protect us, give us the spiritual strength to always follow Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Offer all respects to others, expect none in return. And in this way, chant the holy names incessantly. Next slide, please.
No, can we stay here for a minute, please? So Sri Radha Madan Mohan, Srila Prabhupada always said that with Madan Mohan is Srimati Radharani, but Srimati Radha Krishna is called as Madan Mohan, like Prabhu said. Madan means Cupid, and Mohana means one who attracts. So Krishna is the attractor of even Cupid. But what is the name of Srimati Radharani? Her name is Madana Mohana Mohini. That she is the attractor of even, the one who enchants the mind of Cupid. Srimati Radharani attracts him. So we can understand what position Srimati Radharani has, that she is Madana Mohana Mohini. Jai Shri Madan Mohan Mohini ki Jai. Shri Radhika ki Jai. Next slide, please. Next, we come to this most beautiful temple of Sri Radha Govinda Devji. So this temple is located in the center of the town of Kama, and the deities of Sri Radha Govinda and Vrinda Devi are installed in here. This is it's one of the most famous temples in the entire town of Kama. And Sri Radha Govinda, next slide, please. So Sri Radha Govinda are, of course, they are the Pratibhu Murtis or the replica deities of the original Sri Radha Govinda Devji, who resided here at this place for 3 nights, and therefore they moved on to Jaipur, but their replica deities are worshipped here till today to celebrate the fact that Radha Govinda Devji stayed here for 3 nights. Next, we take darshan of this most beautiful, the most enchanting, the most wonderful Shri Vrinda Devi ki jai. Next slide, please. So this is right, in the side of Shri Radha Govinda Devji is the deity of Shri Vrinda Devi. So deity of Shri Vrinda Devi was originally installed by Maharaj Badrinath himself. And this deity was rediscovered, like we said, by Srila Rupa Goswami. And he installed this deity along with his Sri Radha Govinda Devji in Vrindavan. And later, of course, because of the attack of the Mughals, Vrinda Devi along with Govinda Devji and MadanMohan and Gopinath were moved. First Radha Kund 5 nights, then 3 nights here in Kamyavan. Next slide, please. This is Shri Vrinda Devi, a closer look. We can see here how she is actually, putting her hands out, which signifies that she's just giving mercy. Means she is, looking for opportunities to engage us in service. This is how the Pujari explained to us. And Vrinda Devi, it is said that on the 4th day morning, when everyone was getting ready, the priests were getting ready to move all the deities further on to Jaipur, Vrinda Devi, she said, how can I leave Vrindavan? This is my main service area. Vrindavan is the place where I am arranging for the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Krishna is supremely independent. Govinda Devji, Gopinathji, MadanMohanji, they are Krishna. It's okay for Krishna to go to any other place. He's supremely independent. But I am their servant. And my name, Srimati Radharani, called me Vrinda. I am her expansion. And it is my service to stay here and continue my service to the divine couple. If I leave from Vrindavan, how will I be able to show my face to Radharani and Krishna? So I will not leave. Even if it means that I have to, there is danger to my life, I will still stay here. But I will never leave the Vraja Mandala. So although this Kamyavan, it is like Prabhu explained, it is on the border of UP and Rajasthan. Shri Vrinda Devi did not want to leave Vraja Mandala. So she stayed right at this border. She is staying here till today. This is her chastity. This is her devotion. This is her genuine service attitude. So here at Vrinda Devi's, in her presence, let us also make this, prayer to her, that this staunch, feeling of service, that we cannot be separated from our service. Our service to Krishna cannot be interrupted even if our life is threatened. No one has the potency to take away our service if we desire it. That has been exemplified by Vrinda Devi. So here at her temple, we are begging at her lotus feet that please continue to allow us to be in service.
Jai. Next slide, please. Srimati Vrinda Devi ki jai. This is, you can see how Srimati Vrinda Devi, her eyes are so lively, and we can see that she is personally present here from 4,900, 5,000 years ago old deity. This is this is the glory of Srimati Vrinda Devi. And when we go there, she's so merciful. And this Pujari that we saw, he is in the previous slides, he has been here like from his childhood. He has been serving this wonderful deity of Srimati Radharani. And when he, sorry, Srimati Vrinda Devi, sorry. And whenever we go there, she actually, last time when we went there, she immediately recognized, sorry, the Pujari immediately recognized Kala Sudha and her mother and said, oh, you've come again, you came 3 years ago, right? And they were Like, wow, you remember? Yes, yes, wait, I have something for you. And he went inside and he gave some sindoor and some churi and
Sorry.
sari of Mahasari of Srimati Vrinda Devi. The next day, Kalasudha went with another devotee when we were doing the external parikrama. She went and also offered a new sari to her, to Srimati Vrinda Devi. Next slide, please.
So
And
Vrinda Devi is extremely merciful. And if you look at her eyes, she is actually present here. Her deity is so lively. You feel that she is interacting. She is so lively. Her eyes feel as if that she is actually present here. She is actually present. And, because without the mercy of Vrinda Devi, it is not possible. It is impossible to enter into the confidential pastimes of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. It is only by Vrinda Devi's, directions, her permission, her blessings that we are allowed entrance into not just, forget about entrance into the actual pastimes, but just entrance into the understanding of the mood of Shri Shri Radha Krishna's pastimes. We need the blessings of Vrinda Devi. That is how special she is. And I remember in 2016 was the first time that we saw Vrinda Devi. I remember in 2002 when my mother did the Vraja Mandal Parikrama first time, she had done it herself. I mean, alone with the other Mayapur devotees. My father was also not there at that time. And she had done it alone, first time. And when she came back, she used to talk about Vrinda Devi. She used to talk a lot about Vrinda Devi. And we been to Vrindavan so many times, but we never got an opportunity to come to Kamyavan. But in 2016, when we came to Kamyavan, and when we saw Vrinda Devi for the first time, I remember I just couldn't move from Vrinda Devi's darshan. I just couldn't move. I mean, it was like so much attraction. She had just captivated our heart. And the next slide, please. Can we have the next slide? So I remember in 2016 that Pujari was there and we had offered this purple sari. If you pinch in, you can see it's a very simple sari that we had. But because I felt so attracted to Vrinda Devi, I told my mother, can we offer her a sari? And we had some new saris. So, one of the best ones, we just offered it to Vrinda Devi. And the pujari was so kind, he just closed the curtains and he draped the sari on Vrinda Devi immediately. He just draped her, with the sari. If you can see here, she's actually draped in the sari that we offered. Next slide, please. Next slide is a closer picture of how she is wearing the sari. And that time the pujari was so kind, that same pujari, he was so kind that he actually gave us a maha skirt. The skirt is as tall as me and 5 feet. And that skirt he gave to us. It was maha from Srimati Vrinda Devi. So let's take darshan of that skirt. Next slide, please. If you pinch out, I am showing after our Vrajamandal Parikrama in 2016, I am showing to my spiritual master, Srila Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj, I am showing him that skirt that Vrinda Devi gave to us as her special mercy. And Srila Jayapataka Maharaj took that skirt on his head and he was so happy. And, so that is the skirt. It's a pink skirt with golden embroidery all over it. This much golden jari at the end. You can see how tall that skirt is. It is a maha skirt from Srimati Vrinda Devi. And we have this with us. So this is the greatest blessings of Srimati Vrinda Devi. And Guru Maharaj was really very, very pleased to see this. And after this, then when we went last year, that's when the pujari probably recognized us again, and he said, oh, you've come, you've brought sari for Vrinda Devi. And we gave him a sari and he gave us a sari in return again as Mahaprasad. So it was really, really wonderful with Vrinda Devi. Next slide, please.
so here, Vrinda Devi, we see that she has a reddish complexion. It's explained one time Sri Krishna, he became extremely pleased with all the arrangements that Sri Vrinda Devi was doing, that he came in front of her and pulled her cheeks. Oh, my dearly beloved one, you've done such enchanting arrangements for Srimati Radharani. I'm so, so happy. And hearing this, having this experience, Vrinda Devi, she blushed, receiving this sweet compliment from Krishna. And that's why she appears red, reddish complexion.
Very shy. So let's quickly run through the Sri Radha Gopinath temple. This is, the Radha Gopinath Mandir. Next slide, please. Gopinath resided here, Sri Radha Gopinath. There's a very beautiful pastime here of Sri Radha Gopinath ji. Here we see that on either side of Gopinath ji, there are two Radharanis. One side there's, left hand side is big Radharanis, right hand side is small Radharani. So there's a very beautiful pastime why Gopinath has two Radharanis. Next slide, please. It is said that Sri Janava Mata, who is the eternal consort of Lord Nityananda, she is the combined incarnation of Revati and Ananga Manjari. And after the disappearance of Lord Nityananda, Janava Mata was a very, 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 very powerful acharya. She actually organized the preaching efforts in Bengal. She organized the first distribution, the distribution of the Goswami literatures, and she would travel from Vrindavan and she would keep coming back to Bengal. She was the first one who first celebrated the first Gaur Purnima after Mahaprabhu's disappearance. So she's a very, very, very powerful personality, and the first guru also, lady guru in our sampradaya. That's Janava Mata. And Janava Mata, in her, many times she used to visit Vrindavan, but during her last visit to Shri Vraja Dham, it is said that she stayed in the temple of Gopinath in Kamyavan, and she would serve the deities of Shri Radha Gopinath ji herself. She would cook very nice offerings and she would offer to Radha Gopinath ji. One day, there was no one in the temple. Janava Mata entered the temple and she came to make an offering to Shri Radha Gopinath ji. And when she was passing by like that, Gopinath, he just with his right hand, he pulled on the pallu, he pulled on the sari of Janava Mata and pulled her towards him. And when he pulled her towards him, he made her sit on his right. So on his left, position's already taken by Srimati Radharani. But the side on the right is where Janava Mata was made to sit. And Janava Mata, she stays there. Next slide, please. We see the beautiful prayer of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
Oh, Guru Ma, Janava Devi, I beg your divine mercy. Please dispel my material desires. Oh, Bhakti Kalpataru, oh, Nityananda Shakti, I beg the shade of your lotus feet.
Jai, Shri Janava Mata ki Jai. And from that day, next slide, please, these deities, oops, we missed that. Sorry, we missed that slide. From that day, Radha Gopinath ji.
Go back one slide.
Go back to the Radha Gopinath ji deities.
Yeah, one more slide.
One more back. Yes. So these deities are called as Ananga, Kanai, Rai. Ananga is Janava Mata, Kanai is Gopinath, and Rai is Srimati Radharani. So Sri Ananga Kanai Rai ki Jai. Next slide, please.
We go to Chorasi Kamba from here. Chorasi Kamba is the place of 84 pillars. This is right behind Radha Gopinath temple. This was the palace of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Baba had palace in 3 different places. The place in Nandagram, then the place in Gokul Mahavan, and the third one is here at Kamyavan. Of course, he had a temporary place that we saw in our previous Parikrama near Chatikara. But yes, so this was one of the places, and it has 84 pillars, Chorasi Kamba. Nanda Maharaj held his court here, he and his brothers Upananda, next slide, Upananda, Abhinanda, Sunanda, and Nandana. They would sit and hold assembly here. And when Nanda Maharaj would sit on his throne, next slide please, he would have Krishna and Balaram sit on either side of him, and then he would gravely decide upon the matters concerning his kingdom, with his two sons on his lap while sitting on the throne. When we went there last year, a local Brajvasi boy, next slide, please, he was around, sorry, yeah, he was around 12 or 13, and he very mercifully, he showed us around all the different pillars. Each pillar has different pastimes of Krishna. Krishna dancing on Kaliya, lifting Govardhan hill, stealing butter. And after we completed going around all the 84 pillars, the Brajbasi boy told us, if anyone goes around these 84 khambas or pillars, they become freed from the 84 million species of life and go to the spiritual abode of Krishna, Goloka Vrindavan. We were so truly amazed, and he told it so laughingly and jokingly, as if it was an everyday affair for him. So we were so amazed by the knowledge and devotion of this little Brajvasi boy. And here, in the middle of this Chorasi Kamba, there were some devotees who were sitting and chanting the wonderful bhajan, Gopinath, Mama Nivedana Shuno. That particular bhajan they were singing, and then they would end each verse by saying, Gopinath, 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 Gopinath. So this Brajbasi boy, he would be showing us around the Brajbasi, the 84 pillars, but whenever this tune would come, after every verse, Gopinath, 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 Gopinath. He would just, while showing us, he would just start dancing. Very naturally. He wouldn't care that, these devotees may feel offended that, I'm showing the pillars and suddenly I'm going and dancing. And then again, as that tune would end, he would come back and start showing us the other pillars. Again, that tune would come, again, he would start dancing. So it was spontaneous, true entrance into the Vrajbasi mood. Next slide, please.
So next from here we come to Yashoda Kunda. It is said that when Krishna would come here to herd his cows to Kamyavan, Mother Yashoda, she would miss Krishna so much. Next slide, please. That she couldn't wait for him to come back. So she would, on the pretense of taking a bath in the afternoon, she would come to this place in Kamyavan. And she would remember how when Krishna was a baby, he would just stay in my arms. And while, meditating on this pastime, that she's embracing Krishna, she would take bath in that kunda. So that's why this kunda is actually filled with the Vatsalya Bhava of Mother Yashoda. So can we have the next slide, please? The next slide this is the mood with which Mother Yashoda would actually enter into Yashoda Kunda, that how my Kanha, when he was a little baby, he was always in my arms and he would never leave my arms. But look at now where he is. Where is my Krishna? I'm missing him so much. And Mother Yashoda would just imagine that she's hugging her Krishna, hugging her little Kanha, and she would enter into the waters and take her bath. And when she would come out, she would see Krishna, say, hey, Maya, you're here. And they would have some time. Mother Yashoda would bring him nice laddus. They would feed. And then Mother Yashoda would go back to Nanda Bhavan.
Next slide, please. So we take the water from the Yashoda Kund, respectfully, 3 drops, and move along. We pray to Yashoda Mata, Yashoda, which means Yasha Da, one who brings Yasha, one who brings glory to Krishna. So we pray to Yashoda Maya to please allow us to bring glory, to spread the glories of Lord Krishna and of Srila Prabhupada, bring glory to our spiritual masters and ISKCON Vartman Guru Vrinda.
Jai. Shri Yashoda Kunda ki Jai. So next from here we come to Shri Kameshwar Mahadev. Remember there are 4 Mahadev in the entire Vraja Mandala. One is Bhuteshwar Mahadev from Mathura. Second is Bhuteshwar Mahadev. Then Chakleshwar Mahadev in Govardhan. Then Kameshwar Mahadev here in Kamyavan. And 4th one I am forgetting right now, but it will come to me. But anyways, yes. Thank you, Hari Prasad Prabhu. Gopeshwar Mahadev in Vrindavan. Thank you. So this is Kameshwar Mahadev in Shri Kamyavan. Next slide, please. Very, very, very beautiful self-manifested Shiva Linga of Shri Kameshwar Mahadev. Very beautiful Linga here. He's really tall. He's made out of stone and he's very, 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 very stable. And you know, the devotees here are so merciful that you are allowed to pour water, you know, freely without any cost. You can, anyone come, you can just bathe the Shivalinga. And Kameshwar Mahadev, as the name suggests, he is the fulfiller of all of our desires. So Kameshwar Mahadev has the potency to fulfill all desires. So let us, you know, touch the Kameshwar Shila and please let us beg to Kameshwar Mahadev for pure devotional service to Shri Krishna. Next slide, please. We see my mother, she's touching Kameshwar Mahadev here. Next slide, please. We see here my father pouring water on Shri Kameshwar Mahadev. So along with my father, let us touch him and let us put water on Shri Kameshwar Mahadev and ask for the fulfillment of all of our spiritual desires. Jai Shri Kameshwar Mahadev ki jai. Next slide, please.
Now we come to Vimala Kunda. This is the most significant of Kamyavan's 84 kundas. We went to 84 pillars. Now there are 84 kundas. This is Vimala Kunda. It's named after King Vimala, who had 10 million beautiful daughters. This is one of the most beautiful kundas in Vraja because it was formed by these loving tears of the daughters of King Vimala. It is said that Krishna had pastimes with the daughters, the 10 million beautiful daughters of King Vimala. Next slide. Who was the king of Sindh. Next slide, please. And which is now in Pakistan. And their strong desire to be with Krishna was fulfilled by Krishna at this place in Vimala Kunda. That is why it is known as Vimala Kunda. This pastime is described in the Bhavishya Purana. Next slide. Here, Krishna and the cowherd boys, they would actually play with water with their cows in this kunda. In the Adi Varaha Puran, it is said that by bathing in Vimla Kunda, all sins are destroyed. So let us take bath and sprinkle water from Vimala Kunda to destroy our sins and, more importantly, the propensity to commit sinful activities.
And to bless us with Krishna Prema. Next slide, please.
So this is how Radha and Krishna performed their wonderful pastimes here at Kamyavan. Next slide, please. And this is the journey, the recap of our journey from Shri Adi Badrinath to Shri Vraja Kedarnath to Charan Pahadi and on the way to different kundas and Kamyavan. Then we did the internal Parikrama of Kamyavan as well. Next slide, please. This is the recap of our entire Brajmandal Parikrama so far. We started from Vrindavan and went to all these different forests. Tonight we'll stay at Kamyavan. Next slide, please. So with this, let's end the presentation here and we will sing a wonderful bhajan of glorifying Shri Krishna as Nanda Kumara, because Nanda Maharaj had his Mahal or palace here, the Chorasi Kamba. Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Nanda Kumara, MadanMohan, MadanMohan, Mohan Rupa, Nanda Kumara. Jaya 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 Deva Hari, Jaya Jaya Deva Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya Deva Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Prabhu Dina Dayala Hari, Jaya Prabhu Dina Dayala Hari, Govinda Hari, Gopala Hari, Govinda Hari, Gopala Hari, Jaya Rama Hari, Jaya Krishna Hari, Jaya Rama Hari, Jaya Krishna Hari, Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Govinda Hari, Gopala Hari, Govinda Hari, Gopala Hari, Jai Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Jai Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai, Kamyavan ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki
Jai.
ISKCON Vartaman Guru Vrinda ki Jai.
So we'll just open up the lines for any questions.
In the meantime, we will
Garima,
discuss
just
the
give us
quiz.
1 minute. We will just read the questions for the quiz and then we will open the lines for you. So we have, wow, 12 questions today.
Yeah, it was a long parikrama. It was our coming to Kamyavan and doing an internal parikrama of Kamyavan. First one, name the abode of Lord Shiva that is next to Adi Badri in Vraja Mandala. Second, how did Charan Pahadi manifest?
Third, what is the significance of the fifth note of Krishna's flute? Fourth, what is the pastime behind Luki Kunda?
Fifth, how did the Gaya Kunda manifest? How did Kamyavan get its name?
Seventh, whose replica temples are in Kamyavan and why? Why did Vrinda Devi not want to leave Kamyavan?
Why does Vrinda Devi appear red in color? Whose incarnation is Janava Devi?
11th, what are the Radha Gopinath deities in Kamyavan also known as and what is the reason behind it? 12th, what are the places in which Nanda Maharaj had set up his palace? So these are the quiz questions. Now let us open up the lines for any questions or comments. Garima?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Mataji, Dhanwad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. I like the class today. So I have two questions based on Narottam Das Thakur. We read about Narottam Das Thakur today, his childhood and how he was. So who is he in the spiritual world?
He is a Manjari. I have to look into it exactly who he is. I don't remember that on top of. We don't remember
but
that.
He is considered to be the manifestation of Gauranga Prema, the love of Lord Gauranga. That's why he kind of melted as milk into Ganga.
And for Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Lord Chaitanya, he had kept Krishna Prem in one kunda, one sarovar, where when Narottam in Ganga, stored in Mother Ganga, and he had told that when Narottam comes to take bath, then please give him this Krishna Prema that I have kept for Narottam. So,
he put the Krishna Prem in the Padma river.
Yes.
Wonderful.
That is for Srila Narottam Das Thakur. So Lord Chaitanya, he knew about Narottam Das Thakur that he's going to come, and that Narottam Das Thakur was the one who actually after Lord Chaitanya's disappearance, he was like the second generation. So he kind of revived this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings all over and spread all over Bengal. He was, under, it's Champaka Manjari. Narottam Das Thakur is Champaka Manjari.
I read that in the book and I was just making sure.
Oh, okay. So that's Champaka Manjari is Narottam Das Thakur. And so he was the first book distributor of our Sampradaya under Janava Mata. Janava Mata organized the preaching of Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, and Shamananda Pandit. So all three of them were wonderful servitors of Janava Mata.
Yeah, I understand, and I was so amazed how much Narottam Das Thakur has wrote. So many books, songs.
So many songs.
And he's also crying while he is writing.
Yes, that is the love. He's a very special Manjari.
Now, I drew Radha Krishna on the paper.
Okay. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Please send us a picture, okay, Garima?
Yes. After I color
your hand. Thank you, Beta.
Question.
Hi,
He stepped on the stone. There was number. Now we'll find it out. So he stepped the stone for it. The stone.
I think
he's saying that Krishna wait.
Okay, finish. We are waiting.
Huh?
He's wondering where the flowers are.
He's saying that Krishna walked in the forest and he walked in the stone.
No. He's describing the pastime you described, Mataji, that he stepped on the stone and then the stone melted and he saw the footprints.
Oh,
so he heard.
Wow. Hari bol, Krishna. We love the flowers on your head, beta. Hari bol.
My flower on my head.
Thank you, little
Thank you, Mata.
Hari bol, Kirti.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gauranga. I really like today's session. I liked the Luki Kunda, the Kedarnath, MadanMohan temple, Vrinda Devi, and Chorasi Kamba. I think that's why you say it. So,
Yes.
I have one question today. So, when I was reading one time the Hari Bhakti Vilas 11.678, I think it's about the 6 types of surrender. I think it's about the 6 types of surrenderment. So when Gajendra, when he was surrendered to Krishna, and that I think the alligator ate his leg and Krishna came to come and rescue him. Nrsimhadev for Prahlad Maharaj, he came at the end when Hiranyakashipu asked if Nrsingadev was in this pillar. If Nrsingadev sees that his devotee is going through a lot of pain and suffering, like how Gajendra did, why didn't Nrsingadev help Prahlad and make him go through all of that when he can just stop him like in the first minute?
It's a very nice question. Can I tell you a small story before we answer that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
One time there was a, you know how butterfly, before the butterfly becomes a butterfly, what is its previous phase of development? It is in a cocoon. This, it's like a silkworm, it's in a cocoon. And then it, when it comes out of the cocoon, then it becomes a butterfly. So when this butterfly was in the cocoon earlier, it was struggling to come out. And one boy, he saw that this butterfly is actually trying to come out of the cocoon and become a butterfly. And so he said, it's struggling so much for days, for months. Sometimes it just struggles. It's struggling so much. Let me come and help. And so he took a small knife and he cut the cocoon a little bit and broke open the cocoon, and the butterfly was now exposed. And then he said, now I help you, go fly. But this had transformed into a butterfly. It had wings, but the butterfly could not fly. He was like, I was trying to help you, what happened? Why don't you fly? Actually, what happens is, when the butterfly is trying to come out of the cocoon and it's struggling, that struggle gives lets the juices and all the strength energy flow to each part of its wings, so that when it comes out, it has the strength to fly now. But if this boy was thinking that actually I'm helping this butterfly, but by helping by reducing that butterfly's struggle, it actually ended up harming. So sometimes we have to go through some struggles to get some spiritual strength. And Krishna allows us. He's always there watching that it does not become too stressful. But sometimes he allows us to go through that struggle because that is helping in our development. And if we don't go through that struggle, then there will be something lacking in our spiritual life. Just like this butterfly came out of the cocoon but couldn't fly. So sometimes Krishna allows us to go through some physical struggle, sometimes some mental struggle, in the hopes that this will actually help us in our spiritual struggle. So Krishna is going right to the essence, trying to help us in our spiritual struggles, to make us spiritually successful, not necessarily successful in our mind and successful in our body. Because the body is going to die anyways. How many ever times Krishna saves the body? One day it's going to die. But it's the soul that Krishna is worried about. Krishna is not worried about our mind, our ego, our intelligence. Krishna is worried about us, about the soul. So sometimes, in order for for the soul to spiritually advance, Krishna allows us to go through that struggle while still there, helping us and protecting us in different ways. But still, we have to go through that struggle so that we can grow and ourselves decide, I want to surrender to Krishna. Rather than, because this devotee said I should surrender to Krishna, so I'll surrender to Krishna. Because my guru said I should surrender to Krishna, so I'm surrendering to Krishna. I really don't need, if my guru wouldn't have said, or these devotees wouldn't have said, I have other options too. But when we go through this struggle, it convinces us beyond doubt that there is no other option other than to surrender to Krishna, actually, because everything else is a trap by Maya. And then Krishna makes us realize that, allows us to go through that. So in that sense, he sometimes allows his devotees, but at the very end, when they're about to break, Krishna comes and helps. Like Draupadi. And Krishna has this habit. He will come only at the very end when we are completely helpless. He will not come in the first place.
If
Like,
we surrender, he will come.
yes, like Draupadi. She thought that she has her elders who can save, her husbands who can save. When they said no, when the elders said no, when she herself tried to save herself, the sari, but she couldn't. Then she just left her hands open. Hey Krishna, hey Govinda, hey Gopal. And then at that last moment, Krishna came. With Gajendra, he fought and fought for thousands of years. Then when he just lifted the lotus flower and said, whoever it is, please accept this. Then Krishna came at the last minute to save. So Krishna always tests us till the last minute, because that's mostly the time when we surrender.
And also, there's a difference between Gajendra's, taking shelter of Krishna and Prahlad Maharaj's taking shelter of Krishna. Gajendra, he prayed to Krishna that Krishna, please give me a shelter, please protect me, please protect me. And Krishna immediately came as soon as Gajendra asked for it. But you see, Prahlad, he never asked Krishna that Krishna protect me. He never prayed to Krishna that Krishna, you protect me.
He never asked for Nrsimhadev to come.
Yeah, when he was being thrown down the cliff, when he was put under the elephant, he was put in the pit of snakes, every place. All he did, what did he do? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Om Namo Narayana. He was just chanting. He was just chanting. Because for Prahlad, he didn't even feel it necessary that he needs to ask for Krishna for protection, because in his heart he had the conviction that Avashya Rakshive Krishna E Vishwas. That he had the faith that Krishna will protect. And he doesn't have to be bothered, about, Krishna saving this body. He was least bothered. Imagine, after all that dangerous atrocities that Hiranyakashipu put Prahlad through, then after that, then, there was no other way to scare Prahlad. Nothing was killing him. Even he was put under the funeral pyre with Holika. But still, Holika died. Prahlad didn't die. What is this? Even fire couldn't burn Prahlad. So Hiranyakashipu was tearing his hair apart. What is happening? How will I control this 5-year-old boy? And then, if it was any other ordinary boy, they would feel scared. Oh, what is my father going to do next? What will be the next strategy of my father? How can I defend myself? I have to keep my, allies properly. What can I do? Oh, how can I protect myself? Prahlad was least bothered about all that. Hiranyakashipu was struggling. What can I do for Prahlad? What can I do to Prahlad? He was in anxiety. Prahlad was in ecstasy in his service. Then Sandhanamarka said, now your son is really scared. We'll take him back to school. Out of his fear, he will not do anything in the school now. We'll give him second chance. So they took Prahlad second time to the school. But there, did it affect Prahlad? Did he stop preaching? No, he did not stop preaching, because he had that supreme faith in Krishna, that whatever Krishna will do will be the best for me. He was not even bothered about his own protection. And that's when Hiranyakashipu came and challenged his faith. That you really say God is everywhere? Where is your God? He's in the pillar? Prahlad said, yes, he's in the pillar. And to protect that faith of Prahlad, Lord Nrsimhadev didn't have to come to protect Prahlad per se, his body. He came to protect the faith of Prahlad. Because Prahlad has said that, my Lord is there in the pillar, the Lord manifested out of the pillar, just to make his devotees' words come true. That's all. That's why Lord Nrsimhadev manifested. That is the difference between Prahlad and Gajendra. That is the difference. Sorry to give you a 100-mark answer for a 2-mark question. But we hope that this helps you in understanding that situation.
It really helps me understand the question better. Thank you so much, Mataji, Prabhuji, for an amazing session. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
We love you, Kirti. Thank you so much, Bacha. Your questions are very, 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 very important, because we do get, messages from different devotees who say that, wow, the kids' questions are amazing. So thank you, Beta.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Harry Bol, thank you. So we have Bhakti Priya.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gauranga.
Harry Bol.
Uh, uh, Today I love this section. So I have one question.
Yes.
Like I have heard these stories that Ramanujacharya was having his prasad. So while he was having near a fish was swimming in the pond, and Ramanujacharya gave some prasad to that fish. Like he threw, and that fish it had and immediately transformed into that
Yes.
400 Vishnu, and it went back to Vaikunta. How?
Yes.
But if we eat, we are not going like that. How is that possible? Only animals.
Very nice question.
Actually, it is the sannyasis who saw this, who were surrounding Ramanujacharya in the Pushkarini when this pastime happened of the fishes going up. The sannyasis were surprised. Srila Ramanujacharya, what happened? How come we have been honoring this prasad every day, but this they just one time and they left? And so Ramanujacharya said, this is because these fishes, they accepted the prasad without any offenses, with full faith and helplessly. With so much eagerness they came. That eagerness is the price. Eagerness with so much helplessness. That's why they got. With us human beings, sometimes we try to intellectualize things and we say, why should I be eager? What is the difference between food and prasad? This is maybe something that is just made up. I just want to fill my tummy, so I'm eating it.
And sometimes we even take the mercy for granted. Prasadam, we forget that this is Krishna's mercy. This is non-different from Krishna. And we just take it for granted. We just take that mercy so much for granted. We don't eat, we don't honor Prasadam. We're supposed to honor Prasadam, but we eat Prasadam. That is the problem.
Mataji, but Krishna have given thinking capacity for us. So only we are thinking like that. But animals, they are directly they are eating. So only
So
they are
because
not thinking how.
so we have been given thinking capacity. It's more like discriminatory capacity. So we should use it properly. If we utilize it properly, then we will also go back home, back to Godhead. This just by honoring prasad, without any offenses, helplessly understanding that we should, like Kalasudha was saying, we should honor the prasad. This is prasad. I should not speak while I'm honoring prasad because I'm honoring Krishna's mercy. And if you see Srila Prabhupada, whenever he would be honoring prasad, he would be sitting alone in one corner with the prasad and he'll be eating, and in a very meditative mood, he would be honoring prasad. Very respectfully, with great eagerness, spiritual eagerness, not so much. And so because they helplessly went without any offenses, that's why they got the effect of the prasad. That same mercy, that same effect we can also get if we honor it in proper consciousness. When we chant Mahaprasade Govinde, Sharira Vidya Jal, Jodendriyata Hekal, if we really mean what we are saying, Sharira Vidya Jal, and really have that feeling towards prasad, then we will also get that same benefit. But if we just say, oh, Sharira Vidya Jal, Jodendriyata Hekal, Jiva Philim Ishtada Gitar just to get the prayer over, so now I can eat, then we'll get some benefit because we honored, we spoke, chanted the prayer. This is Krishna Prasad, whatever it is, whatever consciousness we are honoring, we'll get some benefit. If we want the maximum benefit, then we must have put our full consciousness in honoring Prasad. Very good question. Very good question.
Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji, for answering this question. Actually, this
Thank you.
question I was asking to my father, but he didn't have time to explain it. And now I am clear. Thank you for explaining it. Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you,
Mataji and
Priya.
Prabhuji.
Hari bol, beta. Vrinda Gopika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Mataji, you explained the Leelas so nicely, not only Leelas, but the realization. Realization is touched to heart by each Leela, Mataji and Prabhuji, that explain about Adi Badrinath, Lakshman Jula, and then again you climb up Shishi Gangotri and Yamunotri, and that is manifested by Lord Krishna, so that so much potency in Vrinda, and there is a stone, a very danger to walk big and small stone, and with Radha Raman Maharaj Mataji, and with all Vaishnava, you are just walking in a Sridham Vrindavan Dham, and at Charan Pahadi and Mataji, that Chorasi Khamba we touch with when we are going Sridham Vrindavan with Guru Maharaj. We touch Chorasi Kamba, and from some Kamba Mataji, the spiritual voice and harmonium and tabla's voice is coming. And yes, Mataji, that Brijwaji is singing Gopinath, Gopinath, Gopinath. They just they came from different mood and different rasa, Mataji. And then again explain the Leelas, Mataji. And you explained so nicely about the Anankanai Raj, and in a Kamyavan Leela is touched to heart. And Mataji, there is a Chaurasi Kosh Parikrama, there is so many temples, and Chaurasi Kosh Khamba and Chaurasi temple. And Mataji, special Bhakti Devi Sisi Tulsi Maharani, you explained so nicely, Mataji, that her eyes is love when we visit with Radhanath Maharaj and Sachidanand Maharaj and other Maharaj is there. They explain the Leela, Mataji, the Vrinda, Shri Vrinda Kunda and Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani is the live Leela, Mataji. We are not qualified to see that Leela, but that is live Leela. And yesterday also you explained so nicely about Didavali, Kadamba Kunda, Badrinath, Parikrama, and Narayan Parvat, Lakshman Jula, Triveni Sangam, and also about the Gangotri, Yamunotri, and Badrinath, Narayan Rishis, Darshan, Mataji, and the special um, realization with each Leela, that always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Mataji, please pray for us. Please pray for us that every day in each side we will take Shishira, Vrindavan Dham Darshan, Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani, Sham Kund, Radha Kund Darshan, Girar Darshan, and pray that please shower mercy, never forget Krishna, always remember Krishna. And last you sing such a nice bhajan, Mataji. Jaya Sachinandana Gaurari Govinda Hari Go Pala Hari Govinda Hari Go Pala Hari Jaya Sachinandana Gaurari Jai Sachinandana Gaurari Jai Sachinandana Gaurari Jai Sachinandana Gaurari. Mataji, when we are making notes and when we are given questions, sir, I begging with my Jula that please participate in the question answer, because when we are given a question answer, that time Mataji, the ruati khade ho jate, Mataji, and our kids, our husband, our gopis are participating in that leelas unconsciously. And Mataji, the realization when we hear same katha or cooking or doing some seva or deity worship, the rasa is coming again and again, Mataji. You both are not came from really, Prabhuji is from Brajvasi, but you also, Mataji, came from different part. Lalita Sakhi, Vishaka Sakhi for us. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. That is not my realization, Prabhuji and Mataji. I think each and every Vaishnava are feeling when you are taking in a Leelas and you are explaining and narrating Leelas, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Jai Jai Nityananda, Jai Jai Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Please give your mercy and blessing.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So, Parameshwari?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for this class. I really enjoyed today's session. Actually, I went to those places, but I never know so many things that which is revealing now to both of you. Also, I came out with so many nice ideas that we can bring stories to the deities, to bring the Devi deities. So it is so wonderful. Thank you so much for explaining. Actually, we are not only going to the places, we are also going to your experiences that you experienced by going to places. So thank you again for taking us to those wonderful places. So my question is, when last time, so fifth forest was Vrindavan, we went to Radha Kund to dig. So when we were leaving Radha Kund and coming to dig, which forest we were in? Like from dig to we were in Kedarnath and Badrinath. So among the 12 forests, I know we are in Kamyavan today, but which forest we were in those places? Among the
Vrindavan,
12 forests.
the fifth forest.
Vrindavan.
Vrindavan.
We were
So
still in Vrindavan.
Govardhan, Radhakund. You see, we came from Bahulavan. We crossed Bahulavan. From Shantanukund, we crossed Bahulavan and then came to Radhakund. So as soon as we crossed Bahulavan, we enter into the forest of Vrindavan, which is the fifth forest of Vraja.
And the largest one.
It's the largest.
Vrindavan, all the way Govardhan, and we were also in the Panchakrosha Vrindavan Parikrama and Govardhan Radhakund. All of this is Vrindavan.
And then it continues into Dig, into Badrinath, Kedarnath, is all Vrindavan area.
Very vast beyond my imagination that how big Vrindavan is.
Forest.
Very cool.
And today we entered from Vrindavan, we came to Kamyavan, which is the sixth forest of Radha.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Parameshwari. We have a question from Krishna Sharanam Prabhu. What is the difference between Vrinda Devi and Tulsi Maharani? Vrinda Devi is the personification of Tulasi Devi. Tulasi Devi, we will actually have a katha on the last day, but we won't be able to cover everything. So right after Kartik, for 2-3 days, maybe 2 days, we will have a small katha about the life story of Vrinda Devi and how she manifested as Tulsi Maharani, and the pastime with Shalagram and with Shankachuda, the entire pastime. We will try to share that. We'll see if we can cover that during the Vraja Mandal someday. If we can do that, we'll definitely do that. And otherwise, we'll do it right after that. But we'll try to do it within Vraja Mandal. It's a very beautiful pastime, that how Vrinda Devi manifested as Tulsi Maharani. So, thank you.
All right, if there are no more questions, we can end here. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki
Jai.
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 Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai
jai.
Mataji Prabhuji.
Jai.
Shri Krishna.
So tomorrow, please